Welcome to the second video of my Imagine series, where I take a look at any video game character and come up with a moveset for them in Smash Ultimate. Today, I will be taking a look at the beloved Vector the Crocodile from the Sonic series. This is Talking Games with Kyle, and this is imagining Vector the Crocodile in Smash. Okay, so Vector the Crocodile. Who is he? Vector is a music-loving crocodile who is the leader of the chaotic detective agency, which he founded along with his close friends Espio and Charmy. While Vector is large and intimidating in some, he actually has a really kind heart and will always go out of his way to help those in need, asking nothing in return. Despite his rough appearance and sometimes rude manners indicating otherwise, Vector is a very intelligent detective and a natural leader. He brings those traits into his problem solving, never leaving its stone unturned, and will always keep going to complete any mission he may have. Vector is also very easygoing, despite the fact that he can sometimes appear to be bossy or something along the lines of that. The point is, no matter what the situation Vector is put in, he will always keep his cool and think about his plans. Don't get me wrong though, while Vector is usually as cool as a cucumber, he enjoys taking the aggressive approach to most of his problems, often starting a fight. If he needs to though, he's very capable of talking things out, but he usually leaves that as a last resort. There is one thing that will make Vector lose his cool attitude though, and that is being insulted or someone makes Vector feel less of a person. In those cases, yes, Vector can have a temper. Just wanted to point that out. His calm attitude isn't always flawless. So just taking a look at his personality, I think Vector should be similar to Bowser in Smash when it comes to his playstyle and movement, but with a little bit extra, possibly sacrificing a little bit of power. Vector would be on the slower side, with some moves that have very quick reactions. Vector would benefit strongly from hard reads, and this would reflect his personality well in my eyes, being a critical thinker with the reactions that can back it up when needed. A powerhouse that can sometimes be quick and sometimes be slow. Don't worry, if that doesn't make sense, the moveset will make it a little bit more clear. I've always loved Vector. Some of that may be my nostalgic feelings for Sonic Heroes speaking, but who cares? I love Vector as a character, and I think he'd be a great addition to Smash. Enough talking though, let's jump right into the moveset. Vector's jab would be a single bite. Kind of imagine this, but without anything in his mouth. It would be on the stronger side of jabs and serve as a good get-off-me tool. His forward tilt will be a swipe with his tail. Sorry for my awful drawings. I will try to make as little of these as possible. I'll be learning Photoshop for future videos just to give you a heads up there. This would be a nice kill move at hypersense, sending opponents on that awful angle like Ganondorf's front kick. It wouldn't be that powerful though. Vector's up tilt would be a punch directly upwards. This would also kill at hypersense, rewarding timing accuracy because this move only has a hitbox at the fist, nothing really on the sides to drag opponents into it or anything like that. For Vector's down tilt, he would swing with his fist, starting almost directly above him and hammer fisting the ground. This would work kinda like K. Rool's down tilt, burying the opponent when sweet spotted, but this move would also create like a shockwave effect on the ground and launch foes upwards. One more thing, there would be a hitbox on the swing as well. Vector's up air would be a bite upwards. This would function like Sonic's up air. When Vector opens his mouth, a hitbox will be active and they will send any opponents into the bite. The knockback on the final hit will function differently though. While Sonic's leaves room for other follow-ups, Vector's will send foes even more straight up, so the likelihood of the player being able to follow up with something is slim. This wouldn't really be a kill move either, pretty much just for damage. Vector's down air would have him grasp both of his hands into a fist and slam his whole body downwards, like you see him do in Heroes. This move would certainly be a kill move and it would do heavy shield damage, so anyone fighting against it, you should just get out of the way. This move would also have a shockwave effect on the ground that would prevent anyone super close to Vector from punishing him, like Bowser's down air has. One more thing, once Vector hits the ground, you can press B as soon as you touch the stage to bounce right back up in the air. In Heroes, Vector can bounce up and down infinitely, but this move would be kind of ridiculous for Smash if it functioned that way, so you can only do this one time each time you use this move. Moving on, Vector's forward air would have him swing his mic, the stand-up one that he uses when he's in Team Blast in Sonic Heroes. This would be a nice ranged poking move for an aerial attack. Vector's back air would be him blowing a bubble, putting it in his hand, then throwing a back fist, letting the bubble explode. This would have quite a bit of startup, but it would be a devastating kill move. Vector's neutral air would be him taking off the chain he wears around his neck and spinning with it in the air. This would function similar to something maybe Byleth or Pit has. It would be a weak attack, but you'd be able to catch and drag your opponents with it. Vector's grab would be just your typical grab, nothing special about it, but with him having big hands, it would be more than average range. I think that would make sense for Vector. Anyways, his pummel would be a bite, and this would deal 2%, making so you wouldn't really want to be in Vector's hands for too long. Vector's up throw would be him tossing his foe in the air just a little bit, then hitting him with his scales. His down throw would be him pinning his opponent on the ground and spitting out a bubble, letting it explode on them. His forward throw would have him kick his opponent forwards, and the back throw would have Vector swinging his foe around with his tail, then launching them. None of these throws would serve as a kill throw or a combo throw, but they do above average damage. Maybe they could lead into one follow-up at maybe some low percents, but for the most part, these are throws just strictly for damage. Let's move on back to his regular attacks. Vector's dash attack would be a spin dash. Don't worry, this isn't like Sonic's. He would just curl up into a ball with a hitbox. This would be another move that you'd want to stay clear of because this will kill at high percents. Hey, Vector's able to curl up into a ball like Sonic. I had to put a spin dash type move somewhere. I thought the dash attack would be a good spot for it. Vector's forward smash would have him blowing a bubble, putting it into his fist, and punching with it. This move would have an incredible amount of startup, but it would be one of, if not the strongest forward smash in the game, so it would reward very hard reads. Vector's down smash would have him breathing fire on both sides. This, of course, being a smash attack, would also be a kill move, but it wouldn't be nearly as powerful as this forward smash. This move would have quite a bit of range, but to make it so it isn't overpowered, it would have a lot of cooldown. And on top of that, Vector wouldn't just be blowing fire on both sides, the animation would just be like in Sonic Heroes, but maybe a bit faster. So Vector would be open to being punished as long as he's spinning and essentially breathing fire off the stage where nobody would be. Vector's up smash would be a swing upwards with his tail. This, again, being a smash attack, would be a pretty good kill move, but there's nothing really special about this one. Vector's up special would have him blowing up a bubblegum balloon and go up, like he does in Heroes after going onto a fan. This would have a lot of vertical height on the way up, but on the way down it'll have a lot of horizontal movement, so you won't really be able to move too much diagonally. This move won't put Vector in free for all, and the balloon will have a hitbox. Vector himself will be very vulnerable. When Vector uses his down special, he will be utilizing his powerful singing voice. He will roar, and the roar's sound waves will have a hitbox. It will have a weak hitbox at the end of the sound waves, a stronger one in the middle, and a very strong one closer to Vector's mouth where the hitbox is first active. This down special would only attack in one direction, that being a direction Vector is facing. The move would have another property to it though. If you hit an opponent with the sound wave, a music note will drop in place where the opponent is flying away from the attack. If you hit an opponent with the weak part of the move, a yellow music note will fall. You would be able to pick up the music note and use it as an item. I guess you could compare it to Diddy's banana peels or Rob's spinning disc. The music note coming from the weak side will be a very weak projectile, not doing much damage or knockback, and it will disappear after thrown once, whether it hits or not. The second music note is a red one. This drops if you hit an opponent with the middle part of the sound wave. This will be a much stronger item, doing knockback that's similar to Rob's fully charged down special. This won't disappear if you throw it. However, it will disappear if you either throw it off stage or if it's left on the ground for 4 seconds. And lastly, if you hit with the strongest part of the move, which is closest to Vector's mouth, one of each music note will drop and you'll be able to use both. The strong part of this move will be a very strong kill move, but a little difficult to land. It's a risk-reward type move. Let's move on to Vector's side special. He will blow up a bubble that will slowly float and or bounce on the ground at the direction he's facing. 2 bubbles can be active on the stage at one time. If a player attempts to use this move while 2 bubbles are already on the stage, Vector will just chew his gum and nothing will happen. There will be 2 types of bubbles, the first one being a bubble that barely does any knockback, just damage. However, if an opponent gets hit with the bubble, they will be covered in gum for 5 seconds. It will look kind of how an inked player looks, but purple. It will slow him down drastically though, providing Vector an opportunity to capitalize. Now, the second bubble is more for knockback. The gum won't stick to opponent who touches it, but upon contact, the bubble will explode and do quite a bit of knockback. Now, these bubbles won't hurt Vector. If Vector happens to touch one of the bubbles, they will bounce off him and start floating into the opposite direction. This would give them a ton of versatility and could make for some pretty hype moves. Oh, and one more thing. The bubbles, they look completely identical, and they will always alternate each time. At the start of the match, the sticky piece of gum will always be the first one Vector uses, so both players will have to pay attention to which one's coming up next. And finally, Vector's last main move, which is Neutral B. For this move, he'll be calling upon the wildly loved Team Chaotic. When Vector uses this move, Espio and Charmy will fly from basically out of nowhere right into his mouth and they will stay there in a rolling ball-like form. When Vector presses B again, Vector will spit one of the 2 out and it will auto-lock an opponent like Sonic's Neutral B does. This move will be stronger than the homing attack and it would kill at higher percents. Here's the catch though, while Vector will be able to move and attack freely while Espio and Charmy are both in his mouth, he won't be able to use any of his moves that require him to use his mouth because his mouth will already be occupied. Also, to ensure that the player won't be able to spam this move, after Vector spits one of the 2 out, he won't be able to call them back for at least 8 seconds. Before we move on, let's talk about his final smash. For Sonic Hero fans, you probably already know what it is, and that is Team Blast. Vector will let out one loud sing with a hitbox, and anyone in it will be trapped. The band will then play, and the trapped player will be stuck enduring that noise, likely killing them. And that does it for pretty much just the main moveset. Now, before we move on again, let's go over some other stuff that you have to think about when coming up with a moveset, starting with the taunts. Vector's first taunt will just be him blowing a bubble with his gum. His second taunt will have him flex and show off a little bit, and finally his third taunt, which is my favorite one, will have Vector ask where the computer room is.
Find the computer room!
I am a very big fan of this meme, I had to put it in there. Vector's entrance will have him casually walking onto the stage, talking to his walkie-talkie. For victory screens, one of them will have Vector pose like he does when he goes through the special rings during a level of Heroes. And the second one will have him pose like he does when he beats a level, possibly having SBO and Charmy in there. Actually, let's make that an Easter egg type thing. Whoa, that'd be cool, I just thought of that now. Every once in a while, they'll show up, and that way the fans can just get excited if they happen to see him. For the final victory screen, we'll have him fold his arms and say, "Mission complete," and he'll have a very confident and happy look to him. And that does it for the full moveset. I like to think this would be pretty cool, so let me know what you think. But we aren't done yet. We're treating Vector as if he joined Smash Ultimate as a Fighter's Pass character, so that means he'd come out with a stage. And this stage would be Seaside Hill from Sonic Heroes. This is the first stage you play on, and I think the entire environment just fits in so well with Vector, kind of unlike the other stages. This stage would be like a Delfino Plaza type stage, where a platform will run you through certain courses and then drop you off in certain areas for a designated amount of time. In this instance, the platform will bring you through the entire Seaside Hill stage. I'm going to use Team Sonic's right here because that way I can show off the entire stage. If I use Team Chaotic, much of it would be cut off. Just a heads up, I'm going to show the whole stage here, but I will fast forward it because the whole thing will be pretty long. The actual platform will move pretty quick in order to cover the entire level. Players will start off on the platform as it moves off into the level pretty quick. This would be the first place the platform drops players off. They will battle it out on a wall with the left side of the screen, making it so nobody can be KO'd there. On top of that, Eggman's robots will start randomly shooting the players and will have to watch out and take some damage. After 30 seconds, the platform will then pick players up and continue to move on. The second place the platform will stop is actually that little podium type thing. I'm not really sure what to call it, to be honest. But anyways, that's how the stage will look, and there's one catch to it. If a player is knocked into the cannon, they'll be sucked into it. The cannon will then launch them in the same direction, but more on an upwards angle. The more percent a player has, the further it will be launched. If a player is over 100%, it will kill them. If a player hits another player while being launched, the player that was in the way will take massive damage and likely die as a result. Point is, watch out for the cannon. After another 30 seconds, the players will be picked back up and they will continue to move out through Seaside Hill. Let's enjoy some music while we watch through more of the stage. And this is it. Welcome to the final part of Seaside Hill. Players will be dropped off here for 45 seconds. They'll have those big box things they can take down, and if they attack it enough, kind of like how you can take down parts of Luigi's Mansion. Eggman's robots function very differently in this part of the stage. This time, they have swords, and they will randomly jump onto the player's plane and attack them. This time, players will be able to fight them off. Sometimes only one will attack, and other times many will attack. It's completely random. After the 45 seconds are up, the platform will pick the players back up and get on the move again. In Sonic's level, you can see the goal ring. However, that's not Team Chaotic's mission. They don't go to the goal ring. Charmy has that weird flower thing that he can pollinate to teleport into another part of the stage. Instead of doing that, the platform will just fly into an open flower and teleport back to the start of the stage, starting the whole process over again. There's one more thing about the stage that I wanted to mention. I thought it would be best to leave it until after I describe the stage. When the match starts, you will hear Eggman through a walkie-talkie. The walkie-talkie won't be present on the stage, so you'll just hear it. Anyways, Eggman will tell you to find the hermit crabs because that's what the mission on the Seaside Hill stage is. Every time the platform disappears on part of the stage, a hermit crab will be walking around somewhere random. If a player touches it, it will be disappeared and collected. Eggman will then yell, "Good job," and the player who grabbed it will see had a slight speed and power buff for 10 seconds. I just thought that would be a fun gimmick to add to the stage. Seaside Hill kind of defines Vector in a way to me, so I thought this would be the perfect choice for a stage. Let's move on from the stage though. The last thing Vector would come along with is a music pack. I'll let the songs play for a few seconds with each one on the list. Team Chaotic, Seaside Hill, Ocean Palace, System Screen Select, Grand Metropolis, versus Team Battle, Final Fortress, My World, and Combination Knuckles. Man, I personally love the Seaside Hill music so much, can you tell? Brings me such nostalgic feelings. And with the music pack ending, I'll put an end to this video today. I am a huge fan of Vector, and I always get so happy whenever he appears in literally anything to do with Sonic. I think the design form is great, I think Team Chaotic is great, and I love Vector's overall personality. I've been one of those people who have wanted Vector in Smash forever, even though I know it would absolutely never happen. Regardless, it's fun to imagine, and thank you for imagining this with me. This video was a lot of fun to make. Honestly, thinking about about a moveset for Vector made me want to make one for Team Chaotic as a whole. I know a way that could work, so expect one to come in the future. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like or subscribing if you haven't already. If you want to see another moveset video, I made one for Shadow the Hedgehog coincidentally. Those two do have a great meme attached to each other. I'll leave it on screen at the end screen card thing if you want to watch it, you know what I mean. I'll stop talking now and end the video though. Let me know in the comments what you thought about the moveset, or tell me what you would like me to make one for next. Not gonna lie, I'm biased towards Sonic characters, but that's not the only series I'll be doing. All gaming characters are on the table, so let me know down below and I would absolutely love to talk about it there. Thank you so much for watching. This is Talking Games with Kyle, and this has been Imagining Vector the Crocodile in Smash Ultimate.